My name again is Marschall Smith, and I'm the executive director with the IMLCC. So the compact is actually a legal contractual agreement between the states, and it allows those states to share and participate in a process that expedites the licenses being issued. The Compact Commission itself is a part of each state government. So physicians can be assured that we're not a for-profit organization. The official term is governmental instrumentality. A governmental instrumentality is a governmental organization that doesn't have police powers, and that's the very simple version of that. The IMLCC cannot enforce its own rules and laws except through the courts. So this is the way in which we're able to safely, securely, and efficiently allow physicians to get licensed in multiple states. So the compact has grown quite significantly over the years. We currently have 42 member jurisdictions. That's 40 states, the Territory of Guam, and the District of Columbia. The first thing that the physician needs to do is go to our webpage, which is imlcc.com. They have to select a state that's part of the compact in which they hold a full and unrestricted license. This is the core of the compact and the core of the compact's efficiency and effectiveness in doing this quickly. So they have to be licensed in one of the states that on our map is blue. By holding that full and unrestricted license, that state has already gathered the majority of the information that's needed for the physician to establish their eligibility. So first of all, they select a state from whom they want to be their state of principal license or home state. The physician will always need to maintain a relationship with a state of principal license, meaning that they need to maintain that license. They can switch states of principal license, but they always need to have one. There are 4 ways in which a physician can determine a state of principal license and create a relationship with them. The first is that they live in that state. So if you are a state that is part of the compact, live in the state that's part of a compact, and you have a license in that state, that's the fastest and most effective way to use the compact. There are 3 other ways that a physician can establish eligibility. The other 3 are that they work or they're employed in that state where the state or principal license is.
Great.
You can also, the third method to establish relationship is that 25% of your practice occurs in the state of principal license that you're selecting. And the final one is the least frequently used, and that is the military provision that basically you use that state for your federal tax purposes. These are the 9 requirements. They have to graduate from an accredited medical school. They could have taken each step or component of the USMLE or the COMLEX. They had to have passed it in 3 or fewer attempts. They had to have their graduate medical education take place in the United States. It has to be accredited by ACGME or AOA. They have to be board certified by the ABMS or the AOA BOS at the time they are applying. Once they've applied, that requirement goes away. So the initial application, they have to be board certified. They can have no prior convictions or criminal activity, basically gross misdemeanors or felonies. Misdemeanors do not necessarily count unless they're related to the practice of medicine. So they can have no prior convictions or criminal activity. There can be no history of any licensure activities on their National Practitioner Data Bank. They have to have a clean DEA history. They cannot have an active investigation taking place at their state or principal license. And they must agree to and pass an FBI fingerprint-based background check. There are 3 fees that are paid to the commission itself. It's how we're able to operate and fund our operation. And there are 2 fees that are paid to the member board. And so I'll talk about those in 2 separate parts. So to apply for and participate in the IMLCC process, it costs $700. $300 of that goes to the state or principal license to do all that verification work. So the IMLCC receives $400 of that, and that's how we're able to maintain our website, do our system, and make this whole process work. What that $700 gets the physician is it gets them the ability to complete their application. It allows them to apply for the letter of qualification. That letter of qualification is good for 365 days. The first time they select licenses, it's included in that $700 fee. If they go back a second or third or fourth time, they will pay $100 per time that they come back, not per license requested, but per time they come back and use that letter of qualification. Final fee that the IMLCC charges is a $25 renewal fee. So all the licenses, to keep the process in a single place so that the physician can control and manage it from the web page, they will renew all of the licenses that they obtain through the compact. That $700 never needs to be paid again unless the letter of qualification expires and the physician wants the ability to be able to select more licenses. It is important to note that the fee that the state charges for a license is also paid by the physician. So we know that on average, the average licensing fee is between $250 and $350. Those licensing fees are collected by the compact, and 100% of them are passed on to the state board. We do not keep any of the state licensing fees. So they're going to pay the same costs to the state, whether they use the compact process or not.